Welcome everyone back to the JoJo's podcast. It's been a while, holidays, uh, holidays, winter, sickness, a whole bunch of stuff that's kind of kept us out and out. But
Yeah, I feel like it's been a year since we were here. 2018 was the last time I talked to you, and now it's 2019. My goodness, how time flies when you're having fun.
The future.
I hate you both. But we're finally back. So let's go ahead and jump on in this. And let's talk about the Man in the Mirror fight. What did you guys think about that ability in that fight?
Well, for one, it's named after one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs of all time, though I'm much more of a fan of Black or White. If we gotta get real. I thought it was real fun. You know me, I always like mirrors and using reflections as abilities. I always thought it was cool. If we all remember back, Jay Guile in part 3, I believe, used mirrors and reflective things for abilities.
I remember Tony actually said there's no such thing as a mirror. Like cocktail and like you sure have to eat your words because there is a mirror in your face. Sorry.
Just keep going, my man.
But yeah, it was. Excuse me, I'm still getting over a bit of a cough here. It was a very good. It was a good two-parter. Good suspense. Very cat and mouse, and I've been liking that more. Because we're seeing again an evolution in how stands are used and in the ways that people use their stands. And I think one thing that gets pointed out here, never discount a stand's ability to just wallop somebody. Stands are powerful. They're stronger than people are, and even if it's just to stand right in front of you, it'll punch you. It'll kick you. And we see this. Moody Blues does it. Man in the Mirror does it. When they just strike each other or strike the stand user, they do actually inflict damage. And I think it's nice that they're actually reminding us, hey, stands are otherworldly and they're stronger than we are. And there's so much more. They don't just have one thing that they do.
Yeah.
Also, some abilities and different like stats, like speed, accuracy, all that stuff.
Right. It's like Moody Blues. I can, recreate what someone did, for X amount of time. I can still punch you really hard still.
Yeah.
So they're not. You always got to remember, when in doubt, punch Ghost never fails.
Yep.
I think the only reason why Moody Blues wasn't in All-Star Battle probably because of the ability of he doesn't have a really powerful finisher when it comes to attack, but he's also strong at punching. But I can see why he's not in any of the games.
Right. It would be hard to do anything besides just punching with that. Maybe they could make it that he uses the recreation of the person as a decoy or something, but that might just be a little bit too much effort for those kinds of games.
Yeah.
But no, the fight itself was we can agree it was pretty intense, pretty good. But touch back on something that Golden One's been doing is every time we switch to kind of a new villain and new fight, we get a little bit more of an introduction or more background character for some of the other members of Passion. And this week we finally got Swiss Pants Boy finally get his backstory. What do you guys think about that? That took an unexpected direction for me.
I did not see that coming.
You'll have to refresh my memory.
Basically Fugo, very smart guy, has some anger issues.
Yes, yeah. I had heard that they went a little further than they needed to. as far as the incident with the teacher.
Yeah.
And they kind of misrepresented that. And I know that a lot of that was to make Fugo more of a sympathetic character, but we got to understand Fugo's problem is he just has anger issues, and it felt a little weird, a little gross to have that kind of that scene brought up the way it was when there was never any implication that that was a thing in the original manga, from what I understand.
Actually, I don't think he even really had a backstory.
Yeah, they didn't. So kind of, I understand why they did it, but kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah. But what's really interesting though is that like someone actually made, I think it was like a novel that for Fugo, and like they changed the backstory to him. Basically, he did still hit the professor with the book and slammed it and beat him nearly to death. That was still in what I read, but they changed it to basically Fugo's grandma was in the hospital, right, and she was like dying, and the professor was like, well, and Fugo was like, well, my grandma was like, sick, I need to go see her, or whatever, but like the professor being a dick was like, oh, you can't, this is you're gonna fail, blah blah blah, and so Fugo just went off and just slammed the book and just like crushed, like almost nearly killed this guy with the book.
Yeah, no, it's like I had heard that he had some anger issues, and it did feel like a little bit like they were trying to build sympathy towards him, but again, they could have gotten on it in a different direction because it was a little gross, a little not.
It really was. It really was
creepy, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So it was a bit odd. One of the few times that I think David might have done too much to try to establish some character in this, but from what I understand, it may be something that we just never hear from again.
More than likely.
But so back to the man in the mirror fight. I know JoJo's is known for kind of like a little bit of Deus Ex Machina victories, but this one with Giorno was, for me, it was a little bit too out of nowhere. Like the initial thing with the snake was good, like seeing one thing move from the outside world, you can see it move in the inside world. But like just how he used the snake to heal himself from Purple Haze feedback, like for there, I'm like, man, I don't think I could buy this one. I could buy a lot of stuff in JoJo's, but that one, I'm like, eeh.
Yeah.
I figured he would just do something like, oh, I'm going to do this and it'll make a natural antidote. Or, oh, I'm going to replace my poison cells with healthy cells by, I don't know, eating dirt or something. And turning it into new cells or whatever, because he's creating life. So I figured he was just going to do something like that. And I figured his stand was going to be able to heal him. Mm-hmm. Because I imagine if his stand can heal itself and his stand can give life to things, it's going to do that for the user out of self-preservation.
Right.
But other than that, the fight was great. Purple Haze is a very, very, very scary stand. Like, whew, man, that disease that it spreads. I'm glad I wasn't eating when I was watching that.
Right. But what's really ironic though, he's also like kind of like he's very tidy too. He's like being dirty. That's what also makes him kind of hilarious, but also scary at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because like he's like, when he was drooling, he looked at the bottom of his pants or whatever. He's like, oh snap! I gotta wipe this off, and just wiping away. And I'm just kind of like, wow, he's so dangerous, but yet he's so hilarious at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, but it was a nice little side fight. You know, they pick up the key that they need to get out, and leads us to the next episode, which was a recap episode. It was a holiday, so that one was kind of expected to happen. But we move on to the next episode, which Turtle. Tell me about the turtle, Anthony. As a person who's kind of read part 5, like, how often does that turtle actually stick around, or is this just going to be a few episode thing?
This turtle is a very significant character, and it will probably be here up until the end.
Okay.
That's good because I like it. I think he's a lovely turtle, and I would like to give him a cherry tomato to eat. One thing I want to do real quick, just jumping backwards into the last episodes.
Mhm.
Man, oh man, does Purple Haze have a good design? And man, oh man, is it one of my favorite stands.
It's scary AF, but just like it's Knuckles being the pouches that have the disease. So not only do you have to worry about a ghost punching you with him, you got to worry about that thing just like even making contact anywhere near you or around you.
Yeah.
Whew. Like, and you could even tell with that with the way Abakia was acting. Like, as soon as he saw that, he's like, Jono, you have to run. What? Trust me, I have seen this before. We need to get out.
But let's go. I can't explain. Just keep it moving. Let's go.
Let's go.
Seems like those capsules cracked open at the beginning of this year because holy crap, did a lot of people get sick all at the same time.
Yeah, I was one of them.
But yeah, so we basically covered the Man in the Mirror fight, didn't we?
Yep.
Because it was a whole lot of basically, you know, Fugo got pulled into the mirror, and then Abakia got pulled into the mirror, and then Illuso, that was his name, right?
I believe so.
Or that was a sub name for him anyway. That guy. So he, had them trapped in the mirror world, and then of course Giorno got his way through. Did the thing with the snake, and then I think my favorite part was when Illuso just walked right into Purple Haze. And then looks up, and then Purple Haze has a hand around his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had a bad time. But yeah, so, going back over, sorry, I was just catching myself up.
You're good, man.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, where we're at now, Bruno has to take the key, and they have to get some secret transport onto a train to Venice, but they don't go on a train, or rather, they don't go on a train normally. They go by tortoise.
I mean, the world is carried by a giant turtle underseas, so
Basically.
why not?
The great Atuin.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who read Discworld, but that's for another podcast. Yeah, so real cool concept. Not the first time we've seen Araki work with like interdimensional, like subspace type things.
Right.
Nope.
And also, it's another example of an animal having a stand.
Mm-hmm.
This is our third animal that's a stand, I believe, because the first two were
I think so.
Iggy and Pet Shop.
Mm-hmm.
Iggy, Pet Shop, and don't forget about the rats.
Yeah, right, the rats. I forgot about that. That's just 4. Never mind.
But hey, that turtle's got to have some strong willpower to be able to survive an arrow and get a stand.
Right. Also, they're probably not going to mention this, but like the turtle's name is actually Coco Jumbo, and the space they're using is called Mr. President.
Huh.
I don't know why it's called that, but it's just
Pretty crazy. So yeah, this was another one kind
Or I could make a theory right now.
of go
What
on.
if it's named Mr. President because it's like a bunker for like, it's like serious situations where like, you're basically like, in case of emergencies, bam, you're in this secluded area and no one can find you. You're pretty much safe from anything. Well, almost anything.
Could be.
That's just my guess.
Well, I know that there was a band called Mr. President, and they made a song called Coco Jambo.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
That might also be it right there.
That's how I'm not culturing. I'm not musically cultured as I thought I was.
No, not all of us can be Iraqi and have music.
All I can tell you is said song sounds like an Ace of Base song.
But yeah, the one thing we do know about It's Din, Mr. President, is it definitely can't protect you from other stands. Like,
Nope.
it's in a different space, but you could still be affected by the space outside, as we saw with a good chunk of the group aging, thanks to the stand of what I'm assuming is our next major fight, the Thankful Dead. Or the Grateful Dead, whichever one you prefer to call it.
I know that one of the most dangerous things about the Grateful Dead stand is it will age you to about 65 or 70, and then fill your entire brain with weed smoke, and you will be unable to enjoy any music that's not 20 minutes of long-form dad rock noodling on a guitar.
Yeah, at least you can still enjoy the Vita.
Bit of an old reference there, Grateful Dead, for our younger viewers. I don't think there's anybody. I think there are probably plenty of people who have never even listened to the Grateful Dead. Not that they should. I mean, it's the Grateful Dead. But enough of my music snobbery.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah.
It's not like I have. I don't. No.
Well, like I said, this was definitely more of a setup episode than an actual kind of going all out episode. We get introduced to the next two members of the Hitman team, Pesci and what was the other one called? Like Prosciutto? Prosciutto?
Yeah.
And Grateful Dead, HU, and then we have did they even say what Pesci's stand name was?
It's called Beach Boys or Beach Boy, but they called it Fisherman.
Gotcha. Yeah, a fishing rod stand. Can't say I really saw that one coming, to be honest with you. I knew I should have been expecting like kind of a weaker stand, just judging by the guy's personality, but like a fishing rod, like granted, it can hook just about anything and can hide itself. So, and if you've ever kind of cut yourself on a fish hook accidentally, you know how painful that could be.
Mm-hmm.
And so this thing that it just goes straight through your hands, ooh.
Ugh.
Just cringed a little bit when that happened. I'm like, oh.
Right.
But it's interesting, and I can't wait to see how he actually uses it in a fight.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. He looks really strange. He guzzles milk. But I do kind of want to see if he has like a weird berserker mode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really liking. Well, and I think it's interesting the dynamic between the two of them. Because you've got the one guy and he's just like, you know what? Hey, trains crash all the time. Train crashes happen all the time. Nobody in the news is going to think anything different of this. And then Pesci, he's pineapple hair, yes?
Yep.
Pesci's just like, oh my god, holy crap, no, you're not going to kill everybody on the train, are you? You don't need to do that. And it really, I think it's cool that we're showing just how nasty like people can be, because it's like, yeah, it makes sense for Dio Brando to be super evil because he's a diabolical immortal vampire.
Yeah.
He is a
These guys are just dudes with stands. They're criminal people, and they're just as mean and nasty as anybody else. And I think it's interesting that now we've got a whole bunch of really ruthless, dangerous antagonists all working together.
Mhm.
And the whole situation on the train was, another masterful moment in tension.
Very.
Yeah, and again, like going into this, I knew we were dealing with mafioso people, but like just seeing how ruthless a lot of these guys are makes me appreciate that Araki really captured the viciousness of criminal underground people. They're the hitman squad, and though someone like Beshi, is not too big into the killing part, you see the partner Prosciutto just like, we need to get this job done. Doesn't matter what we do. If people gotta die, they gotta die because we gotta do what we have to do. It's good.
Very good.
All right. So, any kind of last minute thoughts on the episodes, Anthony and Connor?
We're getting into the thick of it now.
Very. It's almost as thick as Pesci's neck. Monster's neck.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have a chin. That's the thing. He doesn't have a chin. Got a neck, but no chin.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even think I saw a chin on that boy.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm always eager to see more. And looking forward to see how everyone gets their way out of this one. I'm really starting. I don't know, but I really like Trish, and I want to see more about Trish. I want to figure out more about her.
Right.
I don't mind seeing her actually getting developed as a character, because she's been featured in the past few episodes. She's had like maybe 10 lines at most. Like, she has not said much since her introduction. So once they wrap up this fight, because it looks like we're in for a two-parter coming up as well.
Oh yeah.
Hope to learn more of her, because I like her design, but just gotta develop as a character and not be just super silent for most of it.
What was really interesting though is that like in this episode, like usually around the 14 or 15 mark is when you get an opening, but surprisingly they did not change the opening.
No, I do think though we did finally get the original ending they're trying to do. They probably just didn't have it done in time, because the ending visuals changed up, and oh man, are they just...
It's beautiful.
It's great. Song is still a bit weird, but I've gotten used to it.
There's so much life with the way the individuals.
Oh yeah. And I'll be legit honest with you, I hope they don't change Fighting Gold. Like, it is so good.
I hope they don't change it either. If they do, it probably won't happen until maybe after the Hitman team are defeated. Maybe. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't be shocked, because it looks like part 4 had kind of 3 big things. Like, the first part, you had the initial introduction and Chili Peppers. Then you had like trying to find out who the killer was, and then chasing the killer down at the end. This one, it looks like we'll have kind of 2 segmented parts, like the initial, what we're going through right now, protecting the boss's daughter, and then the second half would be when they eventually go up against the boss.
Yeah.
So, well, that is going to do it for us. Just your closing thoughts, Anthony and Connor.
I enjoy these episodes. They're pretty good. pacing is just phenomenal. Like it doesn't feel forced. It's very like one thing we're doing this one thing. Okay, we're doing the next thing, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I like that most of the episodes have been ending in the middle of a fight, so it keeps me on the edge of my seat. Once again, eager to see how things are unfolding. Also, one thing I noticed, the way Guido Mista is looking at Trish, somebody's got a crush.
Right.
You better
Yeah.
hope she doesn't have a preoccupation with the number 4.
Right.
Definitely another solid bunch of episodes. Show is great. It deserves to win Best Opening at the Anime Awards. Remember to vote for JoJo's Adventure Part 5. But yeah, I can't wait to see this fight with Walking Dead and assuming Beach Boy. It
Did you
looks
say
like it's gonna-
Walking Dead?
I did say Walking Dead with Grateful Dead and Beach Boy, and yeah, no, I'm excited. Can't wait. Show's rolling around perfectly.
Yeah,
Bring on the
I
next
just
match.
can't wait for the part where Rick shows up and he's just like, Carl! I have a stand, Carl! Oh, let me stop. Okay, that was enough.
Oh, we all know Carl wouldn't care about his dad having a stand.
I know, right?
But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for joining us. We will catch you all next time for the next podcast. Now that the holidays and sickness season is finally dying down, we should be able to do this on a much, much more consistent basis. But until then, we'll catch there. We will catch you all next time. Say good night, everyone.
All right, later.
Good night, everyone.
Mhm.